Welcome one and all to Paul Ricard for round number 4 of the DTR ESports Championship. And round number 5 of the DTR ESports Championship. We've had 4 fantastic rounds so far already. And we're looking forward to one more. We're just waiting for the guys to all ready up, I assume, as we've got a lovely view of the pit lane in a dusk setting here. In this sort of what is more commonly known as a test circuit. We've been raced by Formula 1 for the last 3-4 years. First race in 2018, since we came back to the circuit in this modern era of cars. And we're going to wait for the first cars to get out onto the circuit. But while we wait for outlaps and cars to get onto the track, we'll have to talk about the championship, because it's REL in the Alpine that lead the way. As we stand, 2 new drivers, I'm pretty sure, for them this evening. XL in P2 in the championship in the Ferrari. Rocco and Zema back for this. QVR are in 3rd spot. They've, after scoring 0 points in Saudi Arabia, they're on a really good consistent run of form, as well with Packer and Sneaky back from last week too. And then McLaren, the big scorers last week. We've got the exact same duo back again. We've got Erpig, our super pole sitter from last week, the only person on the current grid who has been on pole. So someone's keeping an eye in qualifying. He was absolutely dominant during qualifying and the sprint race last time out in Imola. Then we come CPI and DTR in 5th and 6th, separated by 13 points. Then comes EVG, BNLRE, SLP taking over the Mercedes spot. They're running for their first time this evening, and the first car out onto track is BNLRE Jarno. He's coming out onto the medium tyres. I think strategy around this circuit is a very interesting one. It's very, very borderline between a soft medium or a soft hard or even a medium hard. So this strategy will be very, very interesting today. But you know, with how close we've seen qualify this season, I mean, the field spread is always about a second for the whole field. So running the medium tyres, I don't think we're going to see anyone getting into that top 10 on a set of mediums. But worth a go, good to get some laps on the board, and Jarno letting a lot of cars through. Looks like one of the QVR cars is first in the train, and that is Packer. Last week result for the QVR team, Packer P2 come the end of it, 3/10 behind Felix, who made that alternative strategy work. We've seen the last few weeks the alternative strategy does tend to be key with safety cars, just helping the drivers out at sort of the right moment, if you like. So rain in the race, according to some of the comments. We've got Leslie dropping with some comments there, so we might have rain in the race, something to think about for the drivers, and that could alter strategy here, even in qualifying. But I definitely am going to see that come the race, depending on when the rain is. Might even be at the start, might even be for all of it, we don't know. But this is a difficult circuit, I think, in the rain. So especially with track limits as well, that's going to be something I think going to be quite important. We've got 18 of the 19 cars on our laps on track at the moment, and QVR Packer will be the first, and we go on board with the QVR driver heading down towards turn number 1. The line is quite late on the lap, so an exit out the final corner is going to be important come the end of this lap. Opening up the first corner can really take a lot of curb on the inside, opts not to, actually keeping well within track limits. So getting this first lap on the board, I think, is maybe what we're looking at here. Heading out towards the end of the first sector, just avoiding 8th gear, throws the car in again, playing quite safe with the curbs, I feel, using 4th gear to get the rotation around the left and down into 3rd. Make sure he doesn't get too much wheel spin, and short shifting up to 4th now. Winding on the power as we get onto the Mischau straight, heading towards the chicane. DRS will be wide open here in the race and during qualifying. And we're going to be reaching speeds of around 320 kph. Just flickers over that value. Hard on the brakes, down into 4th. Throw the car in and instantly back towards the right as we carry on towards this brilliant corner. Absolutely flat out. We're hopefully going to see a few battles extending on from that DRS straight, heading towards this flat out corner, opening up as much as possible. We're wanting to scrub off by any speed, and now into another brilliant corner, so high speed, and again we could see a move or two into here. Flat out forwards through the first bit, just getting on the brakes, you drift out and then drift back in, and we're deep into the final sector of this lap now. Avoid the curb on the inside, don't want to touch it too much, and you can use the curb on the exit if you need to, but well, there we go. Final part of the lap though, keeping the car towards the left hand side, because then you want to dart into the right for the final corner. We spoke about the exit, using up to 4th gear so early just to get that power and quite aggressively. Shorty to run to the line now for Packer, and it's been the first lap time on the board of a 1 minute 29.296 He goes into P1. Who else is on a flying lap? Just behind him, Shabby goes into P1 with 29.1. We're following Erpik on his first flying lap. Drivers starting to set times now. Zerma goes into P3, about a second off of Shabby. At the moment, Erpik, though, our pole sitter last week, our only returning pole sitter here this evening, and well, the Mercedes duo are off the mark very quickly. First race, indeed, for the SRL team. Oh, and that's been by Rocco straight away. Actually, Rocco goes into P1. What can Erpik do, though? His first fly up on the board is 1 minute 28.5. He goes on to provisional pole, 3/10 buffer up at the front, and it's almost normal service resumed from last week. SRL, though, great start up into P3. Wesley goes P7. We've got Tim into P5. Who is going to be the next couple of cars to cross the line? Robbie on a now lap, and coming around the final corner is Ariel. Car Mentalist, I'm going to go with. DRS wide open. What can he do on the medium tyres? It's going to be a 1 minute 30.5. Just a little bit adrift some of the medium runners at the moment. Nothing to worry about, I'd say. Looks like Marcel is going again in the Mercedes. Got a bit of traffic with a few cars, of course, finishing their laps. And the first generally the first run of laps is done. Committed through these first ones, gets the car slow down for that sort of left-hander, pull yourself back. A lot of sort of change of directions on this lap, and it can be difficult if you just commit too much to the first bit. It compromises the second bit, and he's unfortunately wound on the throttle a bit too quickly, and the rear has overtaken the front, which is not what you want in qualifying. Robbie on his first flying lap in the Alfa Romeo came out a little bit later than some of the others. And he's heading onto the Mistral straight. He might get a bit of a benefit of a tow. Alfa Romeo here doing a bit of teamwork. It's his teammate Daniel, I think, having his first race of the evening. Is he going to dart out of the way? Yes, he is. Perfectly timed by CPI. That's going to give him a little bit of a boost down the straight. And what's this middle sector looking like for him? He crosses the point, and it is a 49.1. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if that's quick or not, but it did look pretty quick. He's pushing this Alfa Romeo for all it's worth. His teammates up in a P4. Can he join him into the low 29s, or even join that exclusive 28 club? You can see the top three really have got on well. Top four, as Felix crosses the line and puts that McLaren into the 1 minute 28. And McLaren, well, carrying on their good form from last week. Two more corners to negotiate, though, for Robbie. Drops the car down into second gear, unlike we saw Packer earlier, getting up to fourth really early, climbs up through the gears all the way from second towards the line now. DRS wide open, it's going to be 1 minute 28. 29 dead, oh, I was close, but he goes 27 thousandths ahead of his teammate. And it's good stuff from the Alfa Romeo boys. Bit of teamwork, bit of team play as well for them. And it paid off into fifth and sixth as things stand. Felix is going to be on an in lap, and everybody else is in the pits, apart from two guys on out laps. One of them is can I say that? BNL Hori, I assume I can say that. I'm going to say it. Twosome. I don't want to get told off by the people up high at DTR, but we'll risk it for this occasion. But yes, Twosome on his out lap. No time set on the board at the moment. Sneaky as well. Just behind him on track, and we've got the Mercedes of Pantera, who's currently in P3, one of the drivers in the 1 minute 28, representing the brand new SRL team. As he heads his way through the high speed corner, completely flat out. That's a great corner on the game, and it comes straight into another fantastic corner. It's almost Paul Ricard's not sort of one of those tracks that sort of I don't know what the right word is, but kind of people don't look forward to it. It doesn't really produce a great race, but it's got some fantastic corners. I think if you almost put a few gravel traps about, if it wasn't a completely flat circuit that surrounded by these blue and red sort of textured surfaces, I know they're meant to slow the cars down. And of course it was built a test circuit, but it's got some fantastic corners on it, and hopefully we'll see some great racing this evening. We've seen it for the last 4 weeks, and I'm sure it will carry on here this evening. We'll follow Twosome on his flying lap, heads down towards turn 1, feeling 323 kph as he throws the car in, using a lot more curb than we've seen some of the other drivers use, and gets away with it all completely. What's his first sector going to look like? We've seen some of the guys in sort of the low 21s. He drops it under third, gets a good rotation there, and then flicks back get towards the top end of the circuit. And now can he wind on the throttle as he wants? Up to full throttle now, And it opens up that little kink onto the main straight. DRS will be wide open. Can he spot his braking point? He's got nobody in front of him, nobody behind him. A clear track. I think one of the Mercedes has had a spin. I'll have a quick look. I think that's Pantera. Yeah, spinning there. So the Mercedes finding it difficult, it seems, out of on that run onto the main straight, just winding on the lock. We'll flick back to Tusum. He's gone a 49.2, about a tenth down on what Robbie did a little bit earlier on. I remember off the top of my head. Understood a little bit, but caught it quite well. So sort of the car sort of took a while to respond, but when it did respond, it was pretty spot on. Goes for quite a late apex there, gets on the power very nicely. Just two more proper corners to negotiate for the Williams driver. What gear are we going to opt for here? But a second once more. That's going to help with the rotation, going to help wind the power on as he opens DRS and goes for the shortest route to the line. And across the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 28.7. It was a good lap, and the car seems to be responding well to him. Erpic, though, is responding even better because he's 0.2 of a second up now. Our pole sitter from last week is looking to extend his margin even more. His margin's about 0.2, well, about a tenth and a half at the moment. Can he make it 3? Can he make it 4? Putting that McLaren even further up the road. Packer goes into P3 for QVR. 500ths ahead of Rocca. The times are coming in thick and fast now. We got a Ferrari crossing the line. That's Zonema into P13. Yellow flag out on the circuit. I mean, that's just Felix getting out of the way on his outlap. But Erpic, 2 more corners to negotiate. What can he do? Opposite a bit of first gear. It's the first person we've seen that really pushing this McLaren and that Mercedes power unit to the max. Shortest runs to the line now for Erpic. What is this time going to be? It's a 28.333, and it's 2.5 tenths up on his personal best. It's 4 tenths quicker than the rest of the field, and Rocco goes into P3 with his lap, finding a few more tenths here and there. Farg improved up to P6. We've got, who else is on a lap? Nick has invalidated. Wesley goes P11 with that time. Shabby, how is he faring at the moment? Looks to be a little bit down. I think this may have been aborted. Yeah, I'm coming in maybe this time around. Sneaky finding a lot of time on his current flying lap. Can he sneak his way into the top 10? We made the pun work first time around. We struggled with that one last week. Yeah, Sneaky doing a good job in the QVR for the QVR outfit. Can he join Packer up near the top? Runs a bit wide. He might get away with it. He has done. He's avoiding validation. I've missed also Robbie is out of qualifying. I think he's in the pits though, so nothing for anyone on track to worry about. Sneaky round the final corner. He goes a little bit wide, I think, than he would have wanted to. Just about keeps it within the white line as his teammate dives into the pit lane. Barely got any ERS to play with. Crosses the line, it's on minute 29.5, improves by 2 tenths, and goes up into P16. Marcel looking for his first lap. We saw him spin earlier on in this qualifying session. Where can he put that black silver arrow? Haas gets out of the way for us. He'll be the next car to cross the line, ending his flying lap, and he needs to get a lap time on the board. Yellow flag's in sector 1, nothing else to worry about here. He's got about 5 minutes left in this session. DRS on the shortest run to the line, it's been 1 minute 29.3, goes P60 his first time on the board. How's Felix getting on? He invalidated his time, so he's going to be going again, and we're going to go on board with the McLaren driver as he throws the car into turn 1. The car responding in turn 2 as well, using all the circuit, opening up the exit as much as he can. He's now going to throw the car into turn 3 and 4. The car responding, he's all over the curves, but the car is responding pretty well, as I've said before and I've said again. Winding on the power now, and it's just how quickly do you dare to go on the full throttles, using all the circuit and a little bit more. DRS wide open now, avoiding the curves to avoid just scrapping that tiny bit of speed on. It's so tight in this qualifying session. We talked about it earlier, but I mean the field spread is tiny. I mean, if we ignore Erpic, who is in a league of his own once again during qualifying this evening, from Tusum all the way down to Marcel, that's 6 tenths of a second, covers pretty much all the field. I mean, the eSports League is fantastic. It's producing great racing, great battling, as the drivers are so equally matched. Marcel blocks us, and that is, that's just silly. Felix out of the session, and well, you'd expect him to get out of the way, and to be honest, that 5-place grid penalty for Marcel is deserved. Not what Felix would be wanting or expecting, unfortunately, there, and well, Marcel will be seeing to the stewards, unfortunately, in my books. Erpic has retired. Erpig has crashed out. I think Erpig has hit. We can find one of the... Find Packer here. What's happened to Erpig? And the car has disappeared, I think. There's a bit of rain coming out as well, I think, now. But I'm pretty sure... I saw the dot very briefly there. I think he's hit. I think Erpig's made contact with maybe his teammate's stricken car at that fast right-hander. The rain is coming out now, though. So we'll be seeing improved times. We've got Face Pantera pushing at the moment. I think he's the next car to finish a lap. It might be Nick just a little bit up the road. No, it's not. Nick's near the start of his lap. So see how Face Pantera gets on. Tucson just started his flying lap as well. I think he might be the middle sector, but yeah, not ideal, not what you're going to be seeing ultimately. And yeah, you know, Felix has done nothing wrong there in my books. You'd expect the Mercedes to get that way, but the other Mercedes is crossing the line. It's 1 minute 20. He's actually backed off, not happy with that time. I think he maybe would have improved. He backed off quite a bit, and that's what he should be doing, getting out the way there for the Haas driver. That's EVG Timo. Just finishing a lap time, he goes in a P13. But who was I talking about? Let's see how Tucson's getting on. Invalidated and a 7th down, so not going too well as things stand. Nick's invalidated as well, and a 2nd down, so not going well for him. Timo, I think he might actually be on a lap. Not too sure. Shabby just behind him, so you can flick between those two as they get in the end of the house. Getting off, though, just starting his flying lap. Timo is down, unfortunately. I think Shabby's even more down, and look at the rain now. It's really coming down. And it was a bit like we saw in Q2 a little bit earlier on in the real life Imola Grand Prix. I think that is our session done and dusted. We don't have... if anyone can improve now, I will be mightily impressed. We've got a few drivers who are retiring a bit late, knowing the session is done. And it is fair to say, as we see Tucson come into the pit lane on his esports debut here, Erpig takes back-to-back pole positions here in the esports league. So another great result for NLR. Tucson takes P2. Rocco into 3rd. Another good result for XL. Of course, they're chasing Ariel, who are 6th and 15th. But then again, Zerma's down in 18th. So it is going to be interesting. And I think by the time we come to the end of this this Grand Prix coming up, we're going to have a completely mixed group. And what we see now, I feel it's going to be a bit of chaos potentially with the rain. Hopefully not. But yeah, I mean, you know, still a decent result for Felix. P7 is not bad. P7 is, you know, it's a very good lap time. Of course, you know, there's he probably had that lap he was on was looking pretty good, but still P7 for Felix, not too bad. I don't think Erpig would have improved, and you know, he can't place on pole position still. I don't think there were any other penalties dished out. Good result for CPI, still on the same. You know, we talked about them earlier on. They were 5th and 6th. They've dropped down to 8th and 9th, but getting good consistency from the Alfa Romeo outfit. Haas's line is Stern in 12th and 13th. The DTR boys not separated by too much as well. Looks like everybody's just timing to put Leonard Wesley's the last car out on the track, so we're getting he's got the whole track to himself as you watch him dive into the pit lane. Not a lot of fuel left on board, but that's qualifying done and dusted. It's Erpig back-to-back pole positions in the McLaren. Tucson P2 on his debut, and Rocco hasn't raced for a few weeks off the top of my head. I'll just flick through my notes to see if I can find out when he last raced in Bahrain. Actually, Zerma's last race was Saudi Arabia, the first of the season. So XL going back to some drivers who had good results the other season. Of course, Rocco won in Bahrain. Of course he did. He was the first person to make the alternative strategy sort of the way to go, if you like, in this esports league. Absolutely fantastic call on strategy from him, using a safety car to his advantage. And he's back here today and up in P3. He'll be hoping for a good result. But yeah, we said it earlier. Look how close it is if we ignore Erpig, who's 4/10 up the road. I mean, there's 4/10 from... Sorry, so we've got from Marcel, from 2nd down to 16th, 6/10. I mean, that is absolutely crazy stuff. Just shows how competitive it is, and we're going to get a fantastic race here again this evening, I feel. A lot of Dutch drivers, it must be said. But yeah, decent result for Mercedes as well. P5 in their first qualifying for SLR. And oh my gosh, it is very wet. I didn't think it was going to be that wet. But yeah, heavy rain. So I'm surprised nobody sent it out on a set of inters just to get a feel for the conditions. But I feel, judging by what we're seeing at the moment, it is going to be the full wets. for the starting grid here this evening, and it makes it so much more difficult starting on those full wets, especially when you've not had any running on the wets. Nobody's put on the wet tyres, of course. Some you might have done a bit of practice on them, but we've had 20 minutes of or 18 minutes of flat out dry running pretty much for the most part, and just that adapting to the wet conditions. We're going to have the formation lap to try and figure these conditions out. And I imagine when the lights go out, it's going to be very, very difficult to control these cars. If people opted for a wet setup potentially, maybe that's why we saw a few guys a bit lower down than maybe you'd expect them. But again, the field prep was so close. I'd assume they were sort of that hybrid setup. I've been in party chats with some of these people, and I know they're all, if we see rains coming up, they just make a few little alterations to their setups here and there, and I'm sure they'll be playing around with things even now. But everyone ready to go. And Erpik will lead the way if he gets going, and he does. I can change the... There we go. Trying to fix the camera there. But there we go. We're off and away. And it looks like everyone's on the intermediate tyre. So everybody on the intermediates. So not what we were potentially thinking, that it was going to be full wet. The rain is out in full force, but again, it doesn't look like there's too much standing water. We'll run through the grid for you here. So we've got Erpik absolutely destroying the bollard up at turn 5. Leads the way once again for NRL. Had a little bit difficult last time out, and actually ended up finishing P6. His teammate Felix was the winner last time out in Imola. Felix started P9 that day. He's got 2 more positions on that, so can he find the top step of the podium once again, or even onto the podium? I think he'll be very happy with that. We've got Erpik in P... So he's actually suggesting Inter. So we've got Erpik in P1, Tusum in P2 for BNRE. Rocco starts P3, another race winner up near the front. Packer is P4, finished P2 last time out, so can he find the position once again and make his way up to the podium? Debut for SLR. Face Pantera is in P5. Ferg leads the REL boys in P6, and the other NRL driver, Felix, in P7. It's an all... I got 8th and 9th for the CPI drivers. Nick rounds out the top 10 for DR8. Then it comes Wesley and Tim and Timo that are in a DTR Aston Martin sandwich. Chevy is P14. Commentalist is 15th. Kivos Sneaky 16th. Zerdamus 17th. Biriano 18th, and Marcel 19th, having a grid penalty after that collision with Felix during qualifying. I'd say that's kind of justice if you like, but there we go. Erpik running towards the line now as we get ready to start this Grand Prix. We've got 27 laps ahead of us now. And look, quite a mix in the old top 10. I think actually, having a quick look at it, I'm trying to quickly work it out. I think the only duplicate is CPI. I think off the top of my head. I might be wrong. I'm a quick flick through. CPI and NRL. So it's such a mixture in the top 10 as well. We've got a lot of teams up at the front, dueling away, and it looks like Marcel is around the final corner and ready to get going here for round number 5 of the DTR ESports League. And the lights are here now. We can't see them. Now we can. We still can't see them. 4 or 5 red lights here in France in Paul Ricard. And we're going to jump start, but it's like out away. We've got them held for a while. Nick's already making up quite a few positions. It looks like Tusum's had a fantastic start. No, he hasn't. Erpik's had the better of the pair of them as they head down towards turn number 1 now. Tusum slots in a P2. Rocco is third. He's going to keep third, just about 3 wide behind as Nick's making all the positions from his jump start. Packer then trying to go around the outside, and they're all over the road as we're 4 abreast. The Mercedes face Pantera goes around the outside, and that's going to be down the inside from Farg, just holding on to P6. And he goes up into P5. Yes, he does. He keeps ahead of face Pantera. That's one of the CPI drivers trying to go around the outside, and Pantera taking a very, very bizarre line there, and it looks like he's losing a lot of positions. We saw some debris. I think it was a bollard being absolutely destroyed, and Nick drops down to P7. Felix, he's lost a position in P8, and Tim has made up loads of positions in that hash. Can he get round the outside? That's an awkward position in the wet, and that's Daniel spinning round. Is he still in this race? Yes, he is. And unfortunately, he's right to the back of the grid. 2 into 1 does not go, especially at that corner. It is a little bit awkward in wet conditions. We're going to have 3 abreast further back. Pink's ducking for the move. Mercedes going around the outside. Timo trying to hold on to this one, but I think on the inside, Pantera's going to hold on. He's lost a lot of positions. We saw him awkwardly on the inside a little bit earlier on. Tip right on the back of Felix, using up some of that ERS where he can, and Jano's got ahead of Sneaky down in P15. A little bit of a left there maybe jumping to the inside, not quite on this occasion. What's happened further up the road? Packer and Ferg are dueling. We talked about a battle up at this corner a little bit earlier on. Packer winning this particular duel, but he's got in too deep, and that's a brilliant opportunistic move there from Robbie. Down the inside, regains P5, and a very, very good start for him. Further back, Tim. What's happened to Felix? Losing a few positions there. Maybe just getting a poor exit. Maybe it's similar things to what happened to Packer as we go around the final corner, and into the pit lane comes Nick to serve his drive-through penalty for the jump start. But Erping leads the way out front. 6/10s clear of twosome. Rocco still in a second and third. Well, that's where the battling starts, if you like, as Xavi may be lining up a move into turn one. We'll have a quick look as Face Pantera and Timo's gone clean around the outside, and there's been a contact there, and he got a bit of a tank slapper on. Carmelista wants to join in this duel on the pair of them. Marcel and Zerma swapping places further back as well. We're going to try and get the positions gained. We'll see, wow, big changes in the order. Fortunate for CBI Daniel and Nick, both losing 9. Position the big winners, Tim, Shabby, Jarno's up 4 as well. So some good stuff, good opportunity. Oh, and the Cole, that looked absolutely atrocious through there. And that corner, you don't really think about it in the drive, but during the wet or maybe on old tyres or cold tyres, that corner is very difficult. Down the inside now, looks like just behind, we're going to get a move there. I've gone the wrong way. From Jarno going on the inside, but Wesley fighting this one back. It's going to give him the room. The exit just about is. And the best place to watch is this from Sneaky. He gets a bit of a moment all on his own. Trying to find a way on the outside further up the road. Timo's going for a move. He's trying to go around the outside. The battle's still raging on, and both of them are off the circuit. Who's going to be ahead into the next corner? Looks like Timo's going to have the inside. Carmelista wanting to get involved. Wesley has held the position ahead of Jarno, and they're still wheel banging off. One of the cars is always off the road at this point. A little bit deep there from Carmelista, but he gets the cut back quite well. Up at the front, they're all just being quite sensible and racing. But what can you do? The Mercedes behind at the Haas, and that's something we could be saying this weekend in Imola for the real life Grand Prix. But it's here in front of us. Erping sets a fast lap, he's extended advantage by a couple of tenths on that lap, as they get almost over a second now. And we're down towards turn one once more. Carmelista on the back of this little duo, just hoping to find a way past, hoping for them to have a moment in front, and he can sneak his way through. Speaking of sneaky, I'm getting better at the pun, but yeah, P15 for the Cuvo drive, making a few positions here and there. Where the battle's looking to be shaping up on the next run down the Mistral Straight. Robbie using a bit of overtake, wanting to try and close in on Ferg. He's doing that on this straight, but not enough to go for a move. Let's get the telemetry up, and I'd like to see the throttle and brake usage of some of these drivers. It's quite interesting just to see how sort of some of the best, apply the throttle in the wet. It's so difficult to do. As we all know, it's difficult to do in the dry, let alone the wet. So especially, through some of these corners, it's so difficult. On board Pantera now is under attack from Carmelista. So is there a bit of a lift here? Yeah, not a full lift. A little dab of the brake just to help settle the car from the Alpine driver. And Jarno and Wesley still dueling away just behind. Sneaky might want to get involved as well. Further up the road, Felix. That's very deep from Tim. Is that going to give Shabby the incentive? Into turn one, maybe. Short shifts up to third there. So he just waits to get on the throttle, and is actually on full throttle by the time he gets up to 5th gear. The conditions do look difficult out there. The rain doesn't really look like it's dying down. He's gone board with the Aston Martin driver. Just having to play the patient game. It's difficult up on the curbs as well when applying the throttle. And while we've got to breathe, there's a change of position further out the back. And that's Nick moving up into P18 ahead of CPI Daniel. I missed that. I wanted to see Erping through that corner, because it seems to be catching a few drivers out early on in this race. Who opts for what? Let's try and go back a bit further if I can. See what Wesley does through here. Little bit of a lift. Just need to feather the throttle a tiny bit in these conditions. And yeah, Sneaky closing in on Jarno. Looks like we could be having to do some defending as he opts to keep it in 8th gear actually through the high-speed right-hander, and asking it maybe Robbie opting to try and go round the outside if he can. Ferg under immense pressure here. We can't quite find a way through. One of the big winners in this race, and the car just wanting to step out. Robbie keeping it firmly under control. ABS is allowed, yes it is. I know because I use it, and I did use it. Shabby though, all over the back of himself really. Felix now closes in, a massive tank slow for Shabby, just caught the end of it. So he was right on the back of Tim, really looking to chase the throttle on the exit. Zerpik finds a few more tenths of a second and puts his McLaren still in P1, but improves as fast as that by about 3 tenths. Heading down towards turn number 1 once more. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, and I think that's CPI Daniel. Further back, facing the wrong way, but he'll get going once more. Looks like there's no visible damage on that Alfa Romeo as well. Erpic leads the way out front. Let's go on board McLaren drive a little bit. Well, there's a bit of a lull in the battles, you could say. See flat through here? Little bit of a lift in there. Great control from the McLaren driver, and just seems all calm out front, making it look easy. Once more. Did that in qualifying, a little bit of a lock up on the inside, but just sort of casually on the limit, if you like. You know, mining time over Tusum is absolutely no slouch himself. In the Williams, Rocco's in a very comfortable P3 at the moment. We've got the battle of Ferg and Robbie just behind them, just outside those podium places. And CPI Daniels is into the pit lane. So maybe did get a bit of wing damage and opting to put a new front wing on. You really wouldn't want to be running with a damaged front wing, especially on this circuit, especially in these conditions. And yeah, as we head to start lap number 6 in a few moments' time. Field spread not too big at the moment, all well within that 3rd sector. The majority of them. Could we see a bit of a lunge here? He might have been close enough probably to have a go. Can he get a good exit? Both of them getting a little bit wayward on the exit, but there's no DRS in these conditions. We'll have to wait for it to dry up, if it ever does dry up. It's, as you go on board with Robbie, you can see the back of that Alpine. If you're not sure it's an Alpine, it even says it's Alpine. You know, so you've seen that for most of this race so far, and barely got any ERS to play with. Really aggressive usage there from the Alfa Romeo driver. He gets the front round. And they can just see in front of them Rocco slipping away from the front too. He's keeping that gap around 1.5 seconds, just over 1.5 seconds. Doing a good job as things stand. The top 3 still as they were. As we hit the chicane on the Mistral straight. And it's a 3-second time penalty for Sneaky, the first one within 6 laps, which is so easy on this circuit, of course, with no deterrents like gravel traps, like grass. It is so easy just to sort of understeer a little bit wide, just get on the throttle a little bit too early and run wide, especially in these conditions, you know, understeer being a bit more prominent. When you get onto the apex of yellow flag, and that is Jarno facing the wrong way. Not what the NRE would be wanting. One of their drivers up in P2, the other one dropping down to P16 and asking if Wesley a bit of relief. We saw he was hassling the back of the Aston Martin a little bit earlier on. Gives him a bit of respite for a few laps. But yeah, battle of P3 is going to be one that's quite interesting at the moment. Ferg and Robbie starts, I think now they've stopped battling, are starting to reel in Rocco a little bit. And then behind them, a lot of the gap, just around a second. After Packer, Tim, Shabby, all in sort of a second of the car in front. As they hit turn 1 once more, we're 7 laps into this 27 lap race. Is the sky getting any visibly brighter? A little bit. The rain intensity has definitely not died down. Throws the car in once more. Pace Ventera picks up a 5-second time penalty. Jarno's into the pit lane. A bit of wing damage for the Williams outfit. And Marcel is pressuring Zerber, Mercedes versus Ferrari. We haven't been able to say that this season, really, have we? We haven't really been saying it for quite a few years. 2019, first time we've sort of properly last said it. Can he have a go now? Is he actually the battle I was looking at is here, because Robbie right on the back of Ferg. Can he get a good exit compared to his rival? Marcel has dropped back a little bit, not getting the exit he would have been wanting to. as we get back to about 0.6 of a second as we head into this. I think Robbie is a little bit stronger in this part of the lap. We saw him getting quite close earlier on in the race. And now that gap between Ferg and Rocco underneath a second. So the Ferrari driver is starting to struggle a little bit compared to those around him. Toussaint has dropped back to about 2 seconds as well. That's ironic, Toussaint 2 seconds. Back from Erpic. So Erpic starting just to extend that gap a little bit out front. And what I'm interested now is if we, I don't know if I'm getting any moves that are too imminent, but strategy, because you can, on some circuits, you can do a whole race distance without pitting, if of course the conditions stay as they are. You can do the whole race without pitting. Is anyone going to risk that? You know, when are we going to see the pit stop phase? You'd expect it around sort of lap 14, 15, 16. Maybe even earlier, that 13 is probably 13, 14, 15 is probably where you'd expect the guys to come in. But will anyone come in? That's where the big call. Depends how the guys are feeling with tyre wear on these. Robbie, 0.4 of a second behind Ferg, who's now properly getting the slipstream from Rocco in front. They're still slowly reeling him in as the gap between third and second, almost 5 seconds at the moment. Faith Montero could be on for a move here. He ducks to the inside as they run on the Michel straight. They're going to be side by side in towards the chicane. This is a done and dusted move down the inside. It's not because the Haas fights this one round the outside. That then switches to the inside, and they're still wheel to wheel. Can the Mercedes get the drive out of the corner on the outside? It looks like he can. Oh, and the Haas gets a bit of a tank slapper there of EVG Timo. And what can the Haas do to fight this one back? Not opting using the ERS, sticks behind the rear wing of the Mercedes. Little bit of a nudge there. Through, I think, what is turn 10 as they throw the car in simultaneously. Just trying to find a way through. It looks like Pantera is through. And big snap there for the Haas driver. Pantera, of course, started P5 off the top of my head. And he's now back up in a P10 after a poor opening lap for him and into the points paying positions. But of course, has that 3-second time penalty to add to them. A bit of work to do as well to catch Felix, who's in P9. That's where he started. Shabby making a few positions, and Tim as well in front of him. But back to the battle for P3. I think this is going to be where our main focus is for the next couple of laps, because Rocco well within touching distance now of Ferg, and CPR Robbie is not too far behind as well. So we follow the Ferrari driver through what is, there's quite a few sort of chicane style corners on this lap. The quick right lefts, you've got quite a few really. And you can see in the background Packham wanting to get involved in this duel as well, as the gap between third and second now 5.8 seconds. Just going slowly up, and the top two seem to be in a class of their own at the moment. As the rain is still not letting up. I hope he does dry up. I would just get a bit of a mixture. Robbie may be looking for a move into the chicane. Nothing doing on this occasion as Marcel further down the field, and P16 picks up 3 seconds to add it on to the end of his race. Anyone close enough to have a go? It's like not quite at the moment. Rocco, I think, he's got the most ERS to use out of all of them. Drops in a 7th very, very briefly as we head into this long sweeping corner. Robbie thinking about a move, closed up a lot in the mid part, but no way through on this lap, it seems. And it's status quo, it's as we were for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Everybody still on the intermediate tyres. Position changes. The top 3, nothing. It's Ferg, Robbie up 2 and 3 respectively. Packer losing out. Shabby and Tim up quite a few places as well. In this one, yeah, as I said, everybody on the intermediate. Some guys have pitted. Fortunately for them, a little bit of damage earlier on. That's why they're on the fresher tyres compared to others. But hit the brakes once more down at turn 1. Safety car is on in this event. Yes, it is. But nothing warranting the safety car as things stand. Everybody that's had a moment has managed to carry on as they were without any major damage. But I'm sure 27 laps in the wet, we might see a few mishaps here and there. We never know. As we go on to Michel straight once more, Rocco has a gap of about half a second, and Pacanelv in the second. We've got a 4-way duel for P3 now. Rocco holding on to this place pretty well as things stand. But no moves. It looks like Robbie sort of showing his nose, if you like, to try and sort of put his rival off a little bit there. Sort of an old school trigger the trade, try to put a bit of pressure on the rival, almost force him to go defensive. As well, a yellow flag in sector 2. That's Packer facing the wrong way. What's happening to Packer? Oh, and thank God for ghosting there. Packer gets on his way in P11. Will lose the position to Carmelista. Won't quite lose the position to Wesley. Maybe on overheated tyres. He might struggle through some of these high-speed corners. Oh, might be an illegal overtake there from Carmelista, who's had to give the position back. Can Wesley take advantage of that? Maybe not on this occasion. He sort of understeers a little bit wide there. And Sneaky trying to get involved as well. On the position gaining. No way through though, and they're still well to will. The next thing's on a much better run. And towards the final 2 corners we go. Has to tuck in behind. Be very, very difficult to go on the outside and then up the inside. Or the other way around. Into the final 2 corners, but then the orders is Packer, Carmelista, Wesley and Sneaky. It's 11 to 14, back up near the front. Robbie still having at the back of that Alpine. I'll be sick to death of the sight of that rear wing by now. I'm sure we've still got more than half race distance to go. As we're 11 laps out of 27. It's been a different kind of race to something we're used to. The drivers having to battle the conditions as well as each other. As Rocco's sort of got one eye behind him, one eye forward. That gap creeping up now to 7.3 seconds. Actually, Tim getting under a little bit of pressure off from Shabby and Felix. They're both within a second of each other. Again, decent on the power, and he's got the ERS to play with if he needs it. As Rocco or Ferg, and Robbie is still on less than 10%, and while I respect him for the aggressive use of ERS, if you like, as Packer gets his third and final warning. He gets 3 seconds added to the end of his race. Yeah, got to respect Robbie. He's giving that ERS an absolute pounding in this one. Sort of the 3 stages, if you like. Rocco's gone relatively conservative. Ferg aggressive, but not too bad. He's still got something to play with, and then Robbie's just giving it absolutely everything. As Erpik's into the pit lane. Erpik does come into pit lane. I think it's a little bit early, in my opinion. The rain has stopped. DRS is enabled, so it looks like whilst the ground looks really, really wet, I think we're moving to slicks. Erpik onto medium tyres, of course. DRS enable is generally the sign for coming in, and that's caught us very off guard, I must say. It's the sort of the rain stopped very suddenly, and the track still looks wet though. I mean, of course, DRS enable, and Marcel speaking of 5-second time penalty. DRS being enabled is the key sign that we are good to go racing, and that is Erpik almost losing the car massively. Wesley be right behind him. Who's going to have the best of the conditions here? You'd think it's the McLaren, but coming out onto a drying circuit, it is very, very difficult, and it's very easy to get it wrong. Well, some guys almost forced to stay out, as Tusum's gone hard tyres till the end. We'll get the tyres up now just so we know what everyone's gone for. Mediums tyres generally is the call for everybody. It's only Marcel and Tusum that have gone differently. And you can see the guys on the slicks much, much quicker. And the track, literally, we were on the main straight a few moments ago, and the track looked wet. We come to the back straight. It looks bone dry, and Zenham is out of this one. He's gone straight on somehow. It looks like he's gone straight on. We get yellow flag in sector 1. Will that prompt anything? Just waiting with bated breath. Here's excellent. Oh, Robbie's finally found a way past. Goes down the inside. Gets the move. Of course, Ferg has stayed out. He's going to be held out to dry a little bit here. Robbie, though, ahead of Rocco. Breaks the toe quite aggressively. So yellow flag in sector 1 is cleared now. So no safety cars or VSCs. For me, France, it's a weird one. I've raced around France a few times, and it doesn't tend to like giving them out. For some reason, I'm not too sure why. Ferguson's pit lane though, and we have to keep an eye out where he slots out. He was in a fierce battle with Robbie and Rocco. The track looks bone dry now. It literally didn't the previous lap. But there we go. Right, yeah, so if you change position as guys come into pit lane, getting rid of their intermediate tyres. Ferg on his way out, he served his pit stop. Where will he slot out? I feel he's going to be a little bit behind. That one lap is going to cost him dearly. As Robbie sets the fast lap of the race, the slicks is the right way to go. As he get back out onto the circuit, he's going to slot in just behind Felix. Going to have one lap fresher tyres, but I'm sure he would have much preferred the track position and, well, how far up the road he probably should have been. And that's just how costly getting it wrong is. And the track does look bone dry now. Obviously, one of the quickest, Marcel, going round the outside. Don't go down the inside. He's gone down the inside, having a sneaky. Can't get past Wesley as well. He has gone soft tyres. He will have to pit again. 100% the softs can't go to the end from here, surely. 14 laps on them is demanding a lot. It will be a brand new set, I would imagine, but still going to be very, very demanding as Felix and Ferg swapping places. Ferg gets ahead with helping out of DRS. Of course, we've now got DRS to get involved as Jonas for the fast lap of the race, down in P17. So, see a few drivers out of position. We've now bolted on the tyres as Marcel with the DRS move is ahead of Wesley as we get on the brakes. He flicks the car in, he's got the grip on those soft tyres. Breakable later. See by Danielson's fast lap race 37.5. And Rocco still within touching distance of Robbie. And a bit more of an exclusive battle for P3 now. Robbie's putting the hammer down. Shabby's had a moment. Tim's been able to get past. And He's at the fast lap of the 32.7. Hammer really being put down now by our McLaren driver out front, which is beaten by Rocco. A bit of DRS usage for him there, helping him with his lap time. But still, there is a strong battle here as well, and there's a strong battle for P5. Almost these battles that were, the gaps were about a second, have just ignited as we put on the slicks. The DRS is getting involved as well, which does help with racing. And Marcel, unsurprisingly, sets the fast lap of the race with his softs on. There's a nice little train going in. Is Rocco going to be close enough by the time we hit the brakes on the chicane to make a move for P3? He might be, you know. He's going to be closing. I don't think he's going to be closing quick enough. By the time we go on the brakes, no way through for him there. Shabby, though. He looks like he'll be close enough, but he flicks to the inside. No, he holds station for the time being. Even think about looking to the inside of the Haas car in front. Maybe wants a bit of saving. Maybe. Or wanting to go for a move later on in that, though. Ferg, though, we're wanting to get on with it. He really should be in the battle for P3, but he's looking in the battle for P5 at the moment. The gap's so close. Could we see a move into here? Sibo Daniel says the fast lap of the CPI guys on a charge at the moment. Rock's just about holding off Rocco. As we come out once more, Ferg getting frustrated a little bit behind these two, wanting to find a way past. And Packer, both Haas drivers under attack now as Packer's on the back of Timo Erpig, first driver into the 1 minute 31s. Shabby trying to get a bit of a switchback line, but Ferg sort of wanting to try and find a way past him at the same point. Could we see a double move? Could we see a single move? Could we see a double move? Shabby goes to the inside. And I think you might be losing 2 places here. Ferg's going to try to go on the inside as well. There's contact and Ferg's round. It's a difficult corner to take 2 cars into. Looks like Packer's got ahead of Timo as well. Ferg has not yet quite got going. We see him in the background. We can just see him rejoining there, and his teammate gets ahead of him. So not a good move for Ariel. Of course, your current championship leaders, the sort of the consistent team, if you like, are currently both outside of the points in 11th and 12th, not going their way. Ferg was going that 1 lap longer, which really cost him, and then a bit of an incident down into turn number 1. Not going that way, and who's swapping positions at the front? It's Rocco and TBI Robbie. Swapping places. Felix Montero's gone down the inside of the McLaren of Felix. Felix then has the inside for the next corner, and he just about holds on, but it's a better exit for the Mercedes, who's running less downforce. I think will be the next question. It looks like the McLaren just about edging away, because he's got a helping out of slipstream from the drivers in front. Shabby ahead of Tim, of course, that move down into turn number 1 on this lap, actually the start of this lap. And it all quiets down for a time being. Robbie again just behind Rocco. He's got a different rear wing to stare at this time around. As Erpik finds a little bit more time still in those 1 minute 31s and really putting the hammer down. He's found the confidence on these slick tyres, found the confidence in the surface. And that gap now 4.6 seconds. No move from Robbie. Shabby, I think, to be quite comfortable down into turn 1 as Ferg into the pit lane. I think he's got wing damage from that little incident we saw. What tyres are we opting for? Because you can go for any tyres, you don't have to use 2 sets or anything, because we of course had the intermediate tyres earlier on. He might sort of more worrying, gives either off a set of softs or back on the mediums is what I would expect, and that is what he is doing. Spacker leading Timo, making that move a few laps ago. Montero on the back of this battle for P5 as Nick gets 3 seconds at the end of his race, gets his third and final warning on this occasion. And the sun is out. I mean, you wouldn't have Wouldn't have been convinced it was raining at the start of this one, and Tim has gone down the inside of Shabby. Shabby, I don't think, finding that one too hard. Will he look for the switch back as the Haas gets all squirrely out of the chicane? Shabby closing in on the back of the Haas. He knows he's sensible enough, clever enough not to sort of stick the wheel up the inside there. That would have not ended well. As we've already seen, the yellow flag in sector 1, that's CPI Daniel. Unfortunately facing the wrong way, but he gets going once more. Only one driver out this session. We did miss that one, it looked like, from the mini-map. He just sort of went straight on into the wall. Maybe we'll get some confirmation of that later on. And Shabby needs to have sort of more look in the mirrors than in front. He'll be wanting to make the move on Tim if he can. But Felix and Pantera are not far behind, and Packet is closing in on them as well. They get off in free, well, it was for a brief moment, within 3 seconds. Getting on the power very early there was Felix, really getting a good exit out of turn 2. CPI Robbie will be hoping for a helping hand of DRS. He will be getting a helping hand of DRS as he now runs onto Moak Straight. Will we see a move into the chicane? I think we might do, as the Alfa Romeo gets closer and closer, but not close enough for a move down the inside. Had a little bit of a look. Tim under threat, and actually it's Shabby under threat from Felix, but it's actually Shabby attacking Tim. Tim's going to lose 2 positions as we get down into the chicane. Shabby does hold on to that P5 slot that all 4 of these drivers will be wanting, and Pantera just at the back of this wanting to get involved as well, and he's very much involved, as the gap between him and Tim is 0.7 of a second. One DTR driver makes up positions, one is under attack, and I think he's a lose position as Sneaky goes round. He sneaks his way around the outside. But actually, oh, there's the Aston Martin. I was very worried about him there for a brief moment there, but he appeared from behind the barriers. Big moment there from Wesley, but kept the car facing in the right direction, which is the important bit. Erpic, we haven't really spoken about him much this race, just getting on with it out front. He'll be hoping for no safety cars or anything like that, but yet to have any in this race. I'd love one just to give us a bit of a grandstand. Bunch it all up once more as Nick gets ahead of Wesley. That move at the end of the lap. And it seems whoever's at the front of this train ends up being under immense pressure as Wesley dives into the pit lane, so maybe actually hitting the wall and getting a bit of damage there. But his teammate under attack now. As we go for the first sector, the Haas goes in a little bit deep. That allows Mercedes to close up a touch on their debut, of course. SRL on their debut. Currently in the points. Yeah, down the back straight once more. Felix goes out on the inside. Can Tim get involved in this one? He's not quite close enough, but Felix moves up into P5. Shabby now down into P6. Aston Martin getting a much better exit. And is he going for the move? He might be going to be wheel to wheel as we run out of the chicane towards the fast right hand. They're not going to go wheel to wheel, surely. Shabby is going to be ahead. Who's going to slot out ahead? They're still wheel to wheel. That one is getting involved as well of Tim. Shabby does have the inside line. Just going to run his rival cleanly out of road, and Shabby holds on his position there. Great defence from the DTR driver. We've actually got both D1 Aston Martin drivers here. Sorry, not Aston Martin, D1 Alfa Romeo drivers here this evening, racing for the DTR team. Of course, we have the normal divisions running alongside this one. That's a send from the Mercedes driver. Looks for the inside. The Haas having to give him the room, and fair play to him, he did. And we now carry on as we head down toward turn 1 once more. Are we going to see a move from Felix? He's just happy to sit behind for the time being and look in the background. It's Packer and Timo waiting to get involved as well. Packer sort of dragged Timo forward with him. That gap was more than halved between Packer and Pantera, and we could have a 6-way battle here for P5. All 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 6-way battle for P5. All 6 of the all 6 positions are within the top 10, so they're all for points. So every position will give you a point if you're in this battle, or lose your point as Robbie's closing in on Rocco. No way through into the chicane. Shabby's under attack, and Felix moves himself up into P5. Be wary though. Shabby is likes to sort of get him back. Will we get a repeat of the last lap? It looks like Felix got a much better exit this time around. Tim just behind the pair of them. Massive slipstream train, massive DRS train. Shabby's almost pushing the McLaren round the corners here, as they're nose to tail pretty much. Tim giving Shabby a little nudge there, I think. But we carry on once more. And backing out almost within a second. We'll almost be getting DRS off some of the guys in front as he works his way through the final couple of corners. Last week podium finisher. The podium might be a big ask at the moment. Robbie right on the back of Rocco, no way through. At the moment, we're going to look behind us, actually, as Shabby and the chasing pack closes in on Felix. I think whoever gets P5, it's sort of going to be a last lap manoeuvre, if you like. You know, you're going to have to leave it late because then your rival can't get you back. That's how close it is in the battle for P5. And of course, the problem is if you're 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, everyone in front of you've got DRS. It's going to be very difficult to pass. It could be a case of ERS management for some of these guys with 7 laps left in this race. We're about third race distance. Not too long left. As he now accelerates out of the chicane, no transitions on this lap. And as they go forward to the fast right-hander. Yellow flags in sector 1, I think that is, I don't want to assume, he was Jan, I think maybe into the wall a little bit, doesn't look to have visible damage, so we'll carry on his way. Robbie's still behind Rocco, the sun's starting to set a little bit here in Paul Ricard. As Tusum does the fast lap of the race on the hard compound tyres. Great job from Tusum on the slowest compound, finding a bit of pace, maybe saving a bit of ERS, and wanting to get that bonus point for the BNLRE team, who could probably do with some points. Currently 8th in the championship on 11 points. This will be well and truly doubling their points tally here this evening, if he stays where he is. Marcel Cummings a bit lame. Did think those soft tyres can go to the end. Probably should have gone with mediums, but it is what it is. Felix still leading the pack behind him, and as you look behind the rear wing, there's 5 drivers wanting his position. Can he hold on to it is the big question. 6 laps left in this one. Shabby still chasing him. Looks like Marcel's going to slot out probably into a bit of a lonely 15th, unfortunately for him. Fats Pantera pick up 5 seconds. I'm not going to help him. Packer and Pantera, the guys with 5 seconds. Actually, they're wheel to wheel now as we run. The gaps ahead of them a little bit bigger. Mercedes trying to go around the outside. I thought they might have been in contact there, but nothing doing. Just ahead up the road. Tim looking right past Shabby, who had to go defensive. Just you think it was calming down. It ignites once more. 5th, 6th, and 7th still as they were. Pantera leads. Packer, but hits the inside curb. Somehow the others avoid him, and he's facing the wrong way. Will get going though. I think he'll keep the position. He won't quite keep ahead of Carmelista. Will be P11, so just drops outside of the point. And as I was talking about, a bit of a commentator's curse there. Unfortunately, on my part, for the SRL team, bit of slipstream truck braking there for Felix as he tries to keep Shabby and Tim at bay. Sneaky has got past Pantera. I think maybe struggling on really sort of overheated tyres, because you slide across them, just generate that unwanted heat, cooking them a little bit. And now once more, 5 laps left in this race. Will we see a move? Robbie really has saved up some ERS. Actually, both of them are ERS saving massive. Look at the bottom of your screen. 90% energy for Rocco. 67 for Robbie. I think we're going to see a last lap duel between these. Robbie almost not wanting to get past. Want to do it late on. Shabby having to go really defensive and around the outside, but then switch to the inside. Can he get a better exit on the outside? He's using a bit of overtake. In preparation for this attack, I think there was Pantera's losing a few positions. Just I'm not sure what's happened. Maybe he got a bit of damage, a bit of contact somewhere when he spun around. And the Haas of Tim still pushing Shabby, and actually this little duel they've just had has helped out Felix massively. That gap now 0.8 of a second. If they can get it beyond the magic second marker, he could sort of break away, and I think he might just have done. It's going to be close. Shabby's no slouch though. through these final couple of corners. The DRS activation one has already happened. I think he has got DRS, so it's going to help him close back up. And as we head on to turn one again, that gap is coming down a little bit, but imagine Felix is gaining the ERS now, wanting to make sure he stays ahead. Notice as we go once more, Robbie surely close enough to remove now, maybe just wants to stay behind, wants to save up some of this ERS. It's a real tactical duel between XL and CPI here up at the front. As we head down towards, again, he doesn't even seem to have, we haven't even got the DRS graphic at the bottom of the screen. Is he not, is it broken for him? Is he not using it? I mean, can't see it for anybody now. I'm not sure what's happened there, or what's on the bottom of your screen. No, there we go, that should be there, but it wasn't there for him, so maybe DRS is broken. There's actually going to be a move. Plays against Pierce. Pantera has managed to fire these tyres back up once more, and he moves himself up into P12. Down the inside, but actually on the inside, Nick's fighting this one back. Bit better exit around the outside for Mercedes. Driver puts him up in a P12, and Nick down into P13. Shabby's managed to reel Felix back in. Everybody wants P5 here. Packers drop back a little bit. Of course, a Pantera's spin. There was a Mercedes in this little gap here. Maybe struggling with a little fuel here, Packer. Maybe was expecting there's been a bit more fuel saving during the wet period. Maybe expecting a safety car or two. It's surprising we had at least sort of one, even VSC here in this race. We did have a driver crash out, so I'm surprised we didn't get one then. Because if anyone crashes out now, it will be a safety car. Only for a brief period of time, sort of the last few moments we can get a safety car. And Robbie now on the back of Rocket. These two guys are almost at 100% ERS. That's how sort of tactical this one's got. Felix has reeled them in a fair bit. Is he got DRS? No. He is, unless he's just not using it. I assume maybe that's what I can't quite see. Shabby though moves himself back up into P5 to head off Felix down the inside, nice and bold. And Tim watches on with this little duel. Yeah, I think Robbie's not using DRS at all. Just keeping close with the slipstream. Oh, this is going to be so interesting on the final lap. This is the battle we've got to keep an eye on. As best we can, that gap has sat underneath half a second, but pretty much. Oh, well, the last 10 laps, I think, off the top of my head. Yana goes fastest lap of the race down in P17 on a fresh set of softs. Nick looking for a move, gets on the back of Pantera, and they both had a bit of a tank slapper. Can the Mercedes keep it out of the wall? No. And he's out. Oh, I've commentated, Curse, there's an absolute massive. Will we get a safety car here? Keep our eyes forward. Tim looking to move down the inside. Actually, he's going to be losing 2 positions. I don't think we're getting a safety car or anything like that. I don't know why. It's definitely turned on. Felix somehow was around the outside, gets the tank slapper though. And that's going to allow the Haas driver of Tim to come back in, and we're not getting a safety car. Maybe the game deciding it is too late. Tim couldn't quite find a way past him. Well, that was his moment to make the move happen. Timo picks up 3 seconds. That is the end of his race. That could, actually, that probably won't cost him any positions, but it could be close. I think he's got 6 on the top of my head. Robbie still just casually not open his DRS. He's sat on the back of Rocco. We've got 2 laps, or 2.5 laps left of racing. I'm pretty sure what we can say is Erping has been in a class of his own out front. Tusum not too far behind in terms of sort of a class of your own. They've had very lonely races, not really seen anyone. It's probably one of the first cars he's seen, Erping, as he's starting to lap his first few. Where's into pit lane, maybe going for the fastest lap at 10. Daniels does drop into the pit lane. But Erping, it's been an epic drive from him. And he's got 2 laps left. Once we get going again, we'll keep an eye on him. Then later on, want to try and see when he crosses the line as Jarno goes fastest. Back-to-back fastest laps, and a 31.4 is going to be very difficult for most people to catch. But then again, some people bring on fresh softs, we'll be able to give it a go. Robbie's still staring at the back of the Ferrari. He's done a lot of staring at the back of cars here this evening. He's stared at the back of an Alpine. He's now stared at the back of Ferrari. He spent the whole of the interstint staring at the back of Ferg. And he's now spent the whole of the medium stint staring at the back of Rocco. So, fair play to him, and he's my favourite. Oh, what's happened to Packer? There's a yellow flag. I thought that could be for him. There's a yellow flag for somebody. Might just be a car getting out of the way. Oh, I thought it was back because I saw him lose the position, but he's just lost position to Timo, who makes it a Haas. Haas is in the line of stone now, 7th and 8th. Shabby leads the way in the battle for P5, and has got a fair distance. He's got the ERS to defend if needs be. On the attack is Felix. He's not quite going to be close enough by the time we hit the brakes. Robbie and Rocco still in the order we would guess them to be. He doesn't really want to overtake until that final lap, and we could see quite a few final lap moves shaping up here in round number 5. The DTR Esports League here at Paul Ricard. It's going to be a crazy last lap, I feel. Getting a little bit sendy. People have been waiting patiently, and now it's the time to make the moves count. About 6 kilometres left for these lot. Starting his final lap though is Erpig. He's been unchallenged in this race. Tusum rounds the final corner now. There's an Aston Martin in between the pair of them. But Tusum, again, in class of his own, opted for the hard tyres. Maybe it was the wrong call. But again, he's just been comfortable. A race of his own. And someone who's not had a race of his own is Rocco. Under pressure. Shabby as well. Just behind him. We're on board with the Aston Martin driver for a brief moment as he's under attack from the McLaren. Will the McLaren go for a move, or will he hold off? I think Shabby would almost be wanting him to go down the inside, but he doesn't. He holds position there as they were. 5th, 6th and 7th. Trying to keep an eye on the front so we can show them across the line. We're trying to keep an eye on Robbie because I think this is his lap. Both of them have got so much ERS to use, but surely with DRS, this time he's got to use it, surely. He goes through the activation point in a couple of moments' time. Of course, he's well within a second. He's been well within a second for pretty much this whole stint. We can see him at the bottom. It definitely works. Rocco goes to the inside. This is the battle for P3 in this race. The winner of this duel will get P3. He covers the inside, Rocco. Robbie's going to have to go around the outside. Is he late enough on the brakes? Yes, he is. He swoops around the outside. He moves up in a P3. All that patient waiting has paid off. Shabby having a duel. He's got the inside because he had the outside. It switches around. Rock Felix has to take evasive action. And Tim surely can get involved just behind. I've gone one too far. Shabby trying to go on the inside. He's got the legs to do it. He's got the wheel up the inside. Is he going to keep the position? I think he just did this for pride because Shabby's got some time penalties. That's Tim going to go down the inside as well. It's Felix has picked up a time penalty in somewhere and all that because I think he didn't have one a moment ago with yellow flags somewhere. Erpig's won, of course he has. He's been fantastic this evening. He was fantastic in quality. He's fantastic in the race. Tusum takes P2. Robbie is going to take P3 just by the skin of his teeth. And Shabby's fighting for all his life as he's got many cars behind him, including a lap car. And Shabby on track will take P5. I think he'll drop down to P6. But Robbie takes P3. Fantastic drive. Earned himself the podium there. A bit of tactics between the two of them. Great driving. Shabby takes P5, which becomes P6 as Tim takes P5 because he didn't have any penalties. Team across the line in P8, Carmelis to get some points for Alpine and the REL team. It's 10th and 11th for QVR, not going their way in the end of it, and their sort of good scoring streak comes to an end. Nick takes P12 on track. I think that still will be P12 on track. Farg, it didn't go his way, unfortunately, with the great job in the wet, but made them switch to dries that one lap too late and will take P13. And then had a bit of an incident later on. Marcel P14. Not a good debut in the end for SRL. But he dominated qualifying last week. He dominated the sprint race last week. It didn't quite go his way in the main race. Still got P4, I think it was. But it's Erpig who takes an epic race win here in Paul Ricard. I'm not sure if we can see the gorilla. There's some gorilla up near the podium. He'll climb to the top step and take NLR to a pretty decent point haulage. First, again, it's back-to-back race wins for the NRL outfit. And they'll be very happy with that indeed. Back-to-back wins. One for Erpig, one for Felix. I mean, will we see that duo again next week? I would. I'd definitely put them forward once again. They seem to be a great duo. Scoring them a decent haul of points. Tusum, best result for BNLRE. That almost triples their points tally. Robbie, fantastic drive, bit of a fan favourite I think this evening as well. Takes P3. Rocco P4, getting some decent points for XL, especially with REL not having a good evening and only getting 2 points. That's an important result, I feel, in the championship and will become the end of the season. Tim takes P5, a good result there. for EVG, and that will add 10 more points to their tally. Shabby P6, more points for DTR. Felix spoke about him, of course, already. Actually, doubles point scoring for Haas. Fantastic stuff from them. Comments are getting a few points for Ariel. Packer just sneaking into the points for QVR, and then it's sneaky. Nick, Ferg, Marcel, Jarno, Wesley, Daniel, and Pantera and Exertima did not finish. But thank you once again for joining me here at Paul Ricard. Next week, we are in, if I can find the calendar, because I can't remember, we are in, I'll find it in a moment, I still can't find it, I found it. We're at Silverstone, the home of Formula 1, if you like. My home race. I'm not here, unfortunately. I'm here to commentate. I'm not here to race. Of course, we have the divisions racing at Paul Ricard this week, as we've seen tonight. So hopefully we get some more great racing in from D1 down to D5. So make sure to check that out if you enjoyed this evening. There's more great racing. D2 seems to be the crazy race, if you like, of the week. Had a few action-packed field races. I know Jarry has been enjoying the commentary on that, so make sure to check that out on a Wednesday. Make sure to check all the races. It's going to be great week of racing, I'm sure. But if you check out anything, back here next week for Silverstone. It's always produces great league races, and I'm definitely looking forward to that in Northamptonshire. Or the other one, I know it's in, no, it's in 2 counties. I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but yes. Great race this evening, another fantastic battle up at the, 2 guys pushing to the max up at the front in the class of their own, and some fantastic battles up and down the field. So if you've enjoyed this evening, and I'll see everybody next week for Silverstone. It's round number 6. What a league this is, what a race once again. Thanks for joining me.